The words hung in the air like a blade waiting to drop. She needs this, Dad. Clarissa's apartment lease is up, and she's between jobs. You have 3 extra bedrooms just sitting empty. It makes sense. My son Gregory stood in my kitchen, hands on his hips, talking about my lake house like it was a communal resource. Like 42 years of orthodontic practice hadn't earned me the right to decide who lived in it. I set down my coffee mug with deliberate care. The ceramic clicked against granite countertop, sharp in the morning quiet. Did Clarissa ask me herself? She's proud, Dad. You know how she is, but she needs help, and you're her father. Family helps family. There it was, the guilt card. Played early, played hard. I looked at Gregory, 39 years old, successful corporate attorney, living in a downtown penthouse with his wife and twin daughters. My son, who'd spent his childhood summers on this very lake, learning to swim off this dock, catching his first bass from this shore, now telling me who would occupy the bedrooms I'd renovated with my own retirement money. When were you planning to ask me, Gregory? Or was this already decided? His jaw tightened. Dad, don't be difficult. It's not like you use the whole house. You spend most of your time in the master suite, in your workshop. The upstairs guest rooms are wasted space. Wasted space. My chest tightened. I'd retired from dentistry 8 months ago. 42 years of peering into mouths, correcting bites, building smiles. I'd saved carefully, invested wisely, and bought this lake house 3 years before retirement. My sanctuary. My reward. Catherine and I had planned to grow old here together. Then cancer took her 6 months before I retired. Now it was just me, the water, and the space I'd earned to grieve and rebuild in peace. Clarissa's moving in Friday. Gregory continued, pulling out his phone. I've already rented a truck. We'll be here around 10. She won't need much space. Just the bedroom and maybe the office for her art supplies. My hands curled into fists beneath the counter. Gregory, look at me. He glanced up, irritated at the interruption. Did you ask me? Did anyone ask me if Clarissa could live here? I'm telling you now. That's not asking. That's informing me of a decision you made about my house. Dad. His voice dropped, took on that patronizing tone he used in courtrooms. You're retired, widowed, living alone in a 4-bedroom house. Clarissa needs help. She's your daughter. This isn't complicated. No, I said quietly. It's not. His eyebrows rose. So you agree? No, I don't agree. The answer is no. Silence fell like a stone in water. Gregory's face went through several expressions: surprise, disbelief, anger. He settled on controlled fury. You're seriously going to leave your own daughter homeless? She's not homeless. She has options. She has savings. She has a brother who apparently has no problem making decisions for other people. Why doesn't she stay with you? We don't have the space. You have 3 bedrooms. Your girls share 1. That leaves a spare. We need that for Melissa's home office. And I need my guest rooms for myself, for peace, for privacy, for the life I earned. Gregory's voice rose. You're being selfish. I'm being clear. There's a difference. Clarissa's your daughter. I'm aware. I was there when she was born, when Catherine and I raised her, paid for her art school, helped her through 3 failed business ventures. I've helped Gregory for 36 years. I'm done being the solution to everyone's problems. Dad. His voice went cold. We're bringing her Friday. This is happening. I met his stare. 42 years of dealing with difficult patients had taught me not to flinch under pressure. If you bring her here Friday, I won't open the door. You're bluffing. Try me. We stared at each other. My son and I across my kitchen island, across 40 years of relationship, across a gulf that had just widened into something unbridgeable. Gregory's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then back at me. Fine, I'll tell Clarissa her father doesn't care if she's struggling, that he'd rather sit alone in his big house than help his own child. He walked out, The door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. I stood in the quiet kitchen, hands shaking slightly, not from fear. From something colder, harder. Gregory thought my no meant I was being difficult. He had no idea what was coming. I pulled out my phone and opened my contacts. Found the name I needed. Arnold Brennan. Real estate attorney. Old friend from the dental association. I sent a text. Need legal advice. Property rights. Can you meet tomorrow morning? The response came within minutes. 8 a.m. My office. Coffee's on you. I set the phone down and looked around my kitchen. Sunlight streamed through windows overlooking the lake. Water sparkled, peaceful and perfect. Everything I'd worked for. Gregory thought he could override my decision with guilt and determination. He was wrong. By Friday morning I'd have more than just a locked door waiting. I'd have a legal barrier he couldn't cross, documentation he couldn't argue with, and a line drawn so clearly that even a corporate attorney couldn't miss it. I'd spent 42 years building foundations in people's mouths, careful, precise, permanent work. Now I'd build a different kind of foundation. One that protected what was mine. Friday was coming. Let it come. Arnold Brennan's office occupied the second floor of a renovated Victorian downtown. I arrived at 7:50 with 2 large coffees and a folder of documents. He greeted me at the door. Silver hair perfectly combed, reading glasses hanging from a chain around his neck, 70 years old and sharper than most attorneys half his age. Bart. Long time. He took the coffee, gestured me inside. What's the emergency? I sat across from his mahogany desk and laid it out. Gregory's ultimatum. The Friday deadline. Clarissa's planned move-in. The complete lack of my consent in any of it. Arnold listened without interrupting, occasionally making notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. Your son's an attorney. Corporate law. Mergers and acquisitions. So he should know better. Arnold tapped his pen against the pad. Bart, this is straightforward. It's your property. Sole ownership. You have absolute right to refuse occupancy to anyone, family or otherwise. What if they show up anyway? Force their way in? Then they're trespassing. Criminal trespass if you've given prior notice. He pulled a form from his desk drawer. I'll draft a formal notice of no entry. You'll deliver it to both Gregory and Clarissa today, tomorrow at the latest. What does it say? That you, as property owner, are formally denying them permission to enter your residence, that any attempt to do so constitutes criminal trespass under state law, that local law enforcement has been notified. My hands tightened on the coffee cup. Law enforcement? You'll call the sheriff's office, explain the situation, get it on record, when they show up Friday. If they show up, you'll already have established the threat. Deputies can be present to prevent any incident. You think it'll go that far? Arnold looked at me over his glasses. Your son told you he's bringing his sister regardless of your answer. He's already demonstrated willingness to override your authority. Yes, Bart, I think it could go that far. I nodded slowly. Draft the notice. He worked for 40 minutes, typing with the careful precision of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. When he finished, he printed 2 copies on official letterhead, slid them across the desk. I read carefully. The language was formal, legal, unambiguous. No entry, no occupancy, no exceptions. You'll need to deliver these personally or via certified mail. Given your Friday timeline, I'd recommend personal delivery. Today. I'll do it. One more thing. Arnold pulled out another form. I'm also preparing a trespass warning affidavit. If they ignore the notice Friday, you can file this immediately. It becomes a permanent record. Second offense becomes criminal trespass, punishable by arrest. The weight of what I was doing settled over me. Legal documentation against my own children. But Gregory had made this choice, not me. He decided my boundaries didn't matter. Now he'd learn otherwise. I left Arnold's office at 9:30, the notices sealed in manila envelopes. Gregory's office was downtown, 20 minutes away. Clarissa's apartment was across the lake, another 30. I drove to Gregory's firm first. The building was glass and steel, all corporate success and expensive views. The receptionist smiled professionally when I gave my name. "I'll let Mr. Gallagher know you're here." "No need. I'm just dropping something off." I placed the envelope on her desk. "Please see that he gets this today. It's time-sensitive legal documentation." Her smile faltered slightly. "Of course, Mr. Gallagher." I walked out before Gregory could appear. Didn't want a confrontation, just wanted delivery confirmed. Clarissa's apartment was harder. My daughter lived in a converted warehouse loft, rent-controlled and aging. Her car was in the lot, a 15-year-old sedan held together with optimism and duct tape. I climbed 3 flights of stairs, found her door, knocked twice. She opened it wearing paint-stained overalls, hair pulled back in a messy bun, 36 years old, looking tired and worn in a way that made my chest tighten. "Dad?" Surprise, then confusion. "What are you doing here?" "I need to give you this." I held out the envelope. She took it slowly, uncertain. "What is it?" "Legal notice. You need to read it carefully." "Legal notice about what?" "About Friday. About Gregory's plan to move you into my house." Her face went pale. "Dad, I can explain. Did you ask Gregory to do this?" "Not exactly. He suggested it, said you'd be fine with it, that you had the space." "Did you ask me, Clarissa?" She looked at the floor. "I thought Gregory would handle it. He tried." I said no. "Multiple times. He told me he's bringing you anyway. That's why you need to read this notice." She opened the envelope with shaking hands, scanned the document. With each line, her face grew paler. You're serving me with a legal notice?" "Dad, I'm your daughter. I'm aware. I was there when you were born, when your mother and I raised you, when we paid for art school, when we helped you start 3 businesses. I've been your father for 36 years, but I'm also a person with rights to my own home, my own space, my own I didn't know you felt this strongly. Because nobody asked. Gregory decided. You went along with it. Neither of you considered that I might have my own plans for my own house." Tears welled in her eyes. "I just need a few months, until I get back on my feet. I wouldn't be in the way." "Clarissa, the answer is no. Not because I don't love you, because I've earned the right to live alone in the house I bought for retirement. That doesn't make me a bad father. It makes me a person with boundaries. What am I supposed to do? Find another solution. Stay with Gregory. Find a roommate. There are options that don't involve overriding my decision about my own property." She stared at the notice, tears flowing now. "Gregory said you'd come around, that you were just being stubborn." Gregory was wrong. Read the notice, Clarissa. All of it. "If you show up Friday, you'll be trespassing. I'll have law enforcement present. I don't want that. But I won't be bullied in my own home." I turned toward the stairs. "Dad, please, I love you, Clarissa, but the answer is no." I walked down 3 flights, got in my car, drove away with my daughter's sobs echoing in my head. The guilt was real, sharp and cutting, but so was the necessity. If this story reminded you of the injustices you've seen, follow the channel and turn on notifications, because wherever justice is delayed, a new revenge story begins. Thursday afternoon, my phone exploded. Gregory called 6 times. I didn't answer. Clarissa called twice, text pleading. I didn't respond. Then Gregory's wife, Melissa, called. I picked up on the 3rd ring. "Bart, what is going on?" Gregory's furious. Clarissa's devastated. "What is this legal notice about?" "It's about boundaries, Melissa. About my right to decide who lives in my house. But she's family. She needs help. Then help her. You and Gregory have resources. Help her yourselves instead of volunteering my space without my permission. That's not fair." "No. What's not fair is my son telling me his sister is moving in regardless of my answer." "That's not fair, Melissa. I'm just responding to the situation he created." Silent. Then quieter. "He really said that?" Word for word. "We're bringing her Friday. This is happening." Those were his exact words. She exhaled slowly. "Bart, I didn't know it went down like that. Now you do." The notice stands. If they show up tomorrow, they're trespassing. I'll have sheriff's deputies present to ensure it stays peaceful. Jesus, Bart. This is family. Family respects boundaries. What Gregory tried to do isn't family. It's intimidation. She hung up without responding. At 6 p.m. I called the county sheriff's office, explained the situation to the dispatcher. Family members threatening to occupy my property against my wishes. Formal legal notice served. Request for civil standby Friday morning. We can have 2 deputies there by 9 a.m. The dispatcher confirmed. They'll maintain peace, ensure no trespass occurs. You'll need to provide copies of your legal notices. I have everything documented. Good. We'll see you tomorrow, Mr. Gallagher. I made dinner: grilled salmon, roasted vegetables, a glass of red wine. Ate slowly on my deck, watching the lake turn copper in the sunset. Tomorrow would be difficult, painful. I'd be standing against my own children with law enforcement as witnesses. But Catherine used to say something when we dealt with difficult patients who wouldn't accept treatment plans. You can't force people to make good choices. You can only protect yourself from their bad ones. Gregory had made a bad choice. Clarissa had gone along with it. Now I was protecting myself. I slept poorly. Woke at 5 a.m. to rain pattering against windows. The lake was gray, choppy, matching my mood. By 8:30 I was dressed in khakis and a button-down shirt. Professional, calm, ready. At 8:50 the sheriff's cruiser pulled up my driveway. 2 deputies, one older, maybe 50, one younger, 30s. They introduced themselves as Deputy Marshall and Deputy Chen. Mr. Gallagher, we've reviewed your documentation, Marshall said. Straightforward case. You've provided proper notice, established clear boundaries. If they attempt entry, it's criminal trespass. We're here to prevent that. Thank you for coming. Just doing our job, sir. Family disputes are always hard. You're handling this correctly. At 9:15 I heard the truck. Through my front windows I watched a U-Haul rumble up the driveway. Gregory driving. Clarissa in the passenger seat. They stopped when they saw the sheriff's cruiser. For 10 seconds nobody moved. Then Gregory's door flew open. He strode toward the house, stopped when he saw me standing at the door with both deputies flanking me. What the hell is this, Dad? Deputy Marshall stepped forward. Sir, stay where you are. We're here on civil standby. Mr. Gallagher has formally denied you entry to this property. This is my father's house. This is Mr. Gallagher's property, Marshall corrected. He has sole ownership and sole authority. You've been served with legal notice. Any attempt to enter constitutes criminal trespass. Clarissa climbed out of the truck, face streaked with tears. Dad, please. I have nowhere else to go. My chest felt like it was being crushed. But I kept my voice steady. Clarissa, I gave you options. Stay with Gregory. Find a roommate. There are apartments available. You have choices that don't involve overriding my boundaries. I thought you loved me. I do love you. But love doesn't mean surrendering my right to peace in my own home. Gregory's face had gone purple. You're really doing this? You're choosing your empty bedrooms over your own daughter? I'm choosing my boundaries over your ultimatums, Gregory. You didn't ask. You told me. You said this is happening regardless of my answer. That's not how family works. That's exactly how family works. Family helps each other. Family asks permission. Family respects answers. You did neither. Deputy Chen spoke up. Mr. Gallagher. Gregory. I mean, you need to leave. You're on private property without permission. That's trespass. Leave now or we'll be forced to take action. This is insane. Gregory looked at Clarissa, then at me, then at the deputies. The reality was settling. He had no leverage, no authority, no legal ground. Clarissa was sobbing openly now. How can you do this? After everything, I've earned the right to live in peace, I said quietly. I worked 42 years. I lost your mother 6 months before I could retire with her. This house is all I have left of the life we planned. I won't let anyone take that from me. Not even you. Marshall's radio crackled. He listened, responded, then looked at Gregory. Sir, I'm going to ask you one more time. Leave this property now. Gregory's hands curled into fists. For a moment I thought he might actually try something. Then Clarissa touched his arm. Greg, let's go. It's over. This isn't over, Gregory spat. Not by a long shot. It is for today, Marshall said firmly. Move the truck. Leave the property. They climbed back into the U-Haul. Gregory reversed aggressively, tires spitting gravel. The truck lurched back onto the road and disappeared down the hill. I stood with the deputies in the sudden quiet. Rain fell steadily, pocking the lake's surface. You okay, Mr. Gallagher? Chen asked. I will be. This was the right call, Marshall added. Setting boundaries isn't cruel, it's necessary. You did good. They left. I went inside, closed the door, stood in my foyer listening to my house settle around me. The guilt was massive, a weight pressing on my chest. But beneath it was something else. Relief, pride, the satisfaction of having defended what was mine. I walked to my deck, stood in the rain, let it soak through my shirt, run down my face, cold and cleansing. My phone buzzed. Text from Gregory. You'll regret this. I deleted it without responding. Another text. This one from Clarissa. I can't believe you chose a house over me. I almost responded. Almost explained again. Then I stopped. They'd heard my answer. Multiple times. If they still didn't understand, more words wouldn't help. I pocketed my phone and looked out at the gray water. The lake house stood behind me. Mine. Defended. At the cost of my children's goodwill, maybe permanently. But after 42 years of giving, of compromising, of being the solution to everyone's problems, I'd finally chosen myself. The rain fell harder. I stayed on the deck, letting it wash over me, feeling the weight of the morning begin to lift. It wasn't triumph. It was survival, and sometimes that's enough. The silence that followed Friday lasted exactly 1 week, 7 days of my phone staying quiet. No calls, no texts, no furious voicemails, just empty air where my children used to be. I told myself I was fine with it. Told myself I'd made the necessary choice, that boundaries mattered more than temporary peace. But at night, lying in the bed Catherine and I had shared, I felt the weight of what I'd done pressing down like physical force. Then on the following Friday, Gregory sued me. The papers arrived via certified mail. I signed for them at 10 a.m., opened the envelope with hands that had steadied during 42 years of delicate dental work, but now trembled slightly. Civil complaint, Gallagher vs. Gallagher, premise liability and emotional distress. I read it twice, standing in my kitchen, morning light slanting through the windows I'd chosen specifically for this view. Gregory was suing me for the emotional distress caused by my willful refusal to provide familial housing support. He claimed I'd created a hostile family environment and caused both him and Clarissa severe psychological harm. The dollar amount, $75,000. I called Arnold Brennan immediately. They're claiming what? His voice carried disbelief even through the phone. Emotional distress. They're saying my refusal to let Clarissa move in caused psychological harm. That's... He stopped, collecting himself. Bart, that's a frivolous lawsuit. You have absolute right as a property owner to refuse occupancy. Nobody has a legal claim to live in someone else's home, family or not. This won't survive a motion to dismiss. But they filed it. Because your son's angry and thinks he can intimidate you with legal pressure. Bring me the complaint. We'll file a response and counter for attorney fee. When this gets tossed, and it will, he'll be paying for the privilege of wasting everyone's time. I drove downtown within the hour. Arnold read the complaint more carefully, making notes, occasionally shaking his head. This is embarrassing, he said finally. For Gregory, he's a corporate attorney. He knows this has no merit. He's filed it purely to harass you. Can he do that? Technically, Anyone can file anything, but courts don't look kindly on frivolous litigation designed to intimidate. Will file a motion to dismiss with prejudice, request sanctions for bad faith filing, and counter-sue for your legal fees. How long will this take? 3 to 6 months. Probably. But Bart, you need to prepare yourself for something else. I waited. This lawsuit is just the opening move. Your son's going to try multiple angles: financial pressure, family manipulation, social campaign. He's going to make life difficult, hoping you'll give in to make it stop. I'm not giving in. Good, because if you do, if you show any weakness, he'll know exactly how to control you going forward. This is about more than the house now. This is about whether you have the right to set boundaries at all. I left his office with a plan of action and a sick feeling in my stomach. Gregory had escalated from family disagreement to legal warfare. My son, who I'd raised, educated, supported through law school, now using those skills against me. That evening I got a call from my brother Kenneth. "Bart, what the hell is going on?" Gregory called me. "He's saying you threw Clarissa out on the street, refused to help when she was desperate, hired deputies to threaten them with guns." None of that is accurate. He sounded pretty convincing. "Kenneth, do you want the truth or Gregory's version?" A pause. "Both, I guess." I explained everything. Gregory's ultimatum, the lack of permission, the legal notices, the sheriff's civil standby, which involved no drawn weapons, no threats, just peaceful presence. Kenneth listened without interrupting. "So you really said no to Clarissa living there?" "I did." "That's cold, Bart." "Is it? I worked 42 years for that house. I lost Catherine 6 months before we could retire together. Now I'm supposed to give up the peace I earned because my son decided his sister should live there. Family helps family. Family asks permission." Gregory didn't ask. He told me it was happening. "That's not family, Kenneth. That's control." Silence stretched between us. "I don't know, Bart. It sounds harsh. Then you take her in. You have that guest cottage behind your house. Help her yourself instead of judging me for defending my boundaries. That's not fair. Neither is expecting me to surrender my home because it's easier than finding another solution." "Kenneth, whose side are you on? There shouldn't be sides. You're family." "Exactly. So why is everyone taking Gregory's side without asking me what actually happened?" He didn't answer. "Kenneth, I love you. But if you're going to judge me based on Gregory's version of events, we don't have much to talk about." I hung up. Within 2 weeks I learned the extent of Gregory's campaign. My sister, Patricia, called brief and comfortable, clearly prompted by Gregory. "Just wanted to check in, see if I was okay given everything I was going through." What would you do at this point? Write it in the comments. Your thoughts are as important as the story itself. Translation: had I reconsidered yet? 3 old colleagues from the Dental Association reached out. They'd heard I was having family troubles, wanted to make sure I was handling things well. Translation: Gregory had made me sound unstable. Someone even posted on the neighborhood Facebook group, anonymous but clearly informed, about an elderly homeowner who'd rejected his homeless daughter and now lived isolated and bitter in his mansion on the lake. The character assassination was systematic and thorough. I documented everything. Screenshots, saved voicemails, emails, all of it filed chronologically. Arnold had said we might need evidence of harassment. I'd provide a comprehensive record, but the isolation was real. Friends became uncertain, family became distant. My daughter wouldn't speak to me. My son had weaponized our family network against me. I sat alone in my lake house watching autumn arrive in copper and gold across the water and wondered if I'd made a terrible mistake. Then I remembered Gregory's face when he'd said, "We're bringing her Friday. This is happening." Remembered the entitled certainty, the complete dismissal of my authority over my own life. No, I hadn't made a mistake. I'd made the only choice I could live with. The deposition came in early November. Arnold accompanied me to Gregory's attorney's office, a slick downtown firm with abstract art and expensive coffee. We sat across from Gregory, his lawyer, a woman in her 40s, sharp-eyed and professional, and a court reporter. Gregory wouldn't meet my eyes. His attorney started with basic questions: property ownership, financial status, relationship with my children. I answered clearly, factually, without emotion. Then she shifted. Mr. Gallagher, when your daughter asked for help, you refused. Is that correct? My daughter didn't ask me. My son told me she was moving in. I refused his ultimatum. But you knew she needed housing. I knew she was between apartments. That's not the same as needing housing. She had options, such as her brother's home, roommate situation, other family members who've apparently had a lot to say about my choices without offering their own spare rooms. The attorney's jaw tightened. You don't think family should help each other? I think family should respect each other. Respect includes asking permission before making decisions about someone else's property. But you have the means to help. Having means doesn't create obligation. I earned my retirement, my home, my peace. Nobody has a right to dictate how I use them. Even your own daughter, especially family. Family should respect boundaries more, not less. Gregory finally looked up. His face was cold, hard, nothing of the son I'd raised visible in that expression. You've always been selfish, he said quietly. Mom knew it. Clarissa and I just didn't want to see it. Arnold put a hand on my arm, warning or support, I wasn't sure. Gregory, I kept my voice level. I paid for your education. I supported you through law school. I was at every game, every graduation, every major moment of your life. That's not selfishness. That's decades of being present. And now when we need you, you turn your back. Now when you try to override my decisions about my own home, I defend my boundaries. That's not turning my back. That's standing my ground. Same thing. No, it's not. The deposition lasted 3 hours. By the end, even Gregory's attorney looked uncomfortable. The case had no merit, and everyone in that room knew it. But Gregory wasn't backing down. Outside, Arnold pulled me aside. That went well, actually. He came across as entitled. You came across as reasonable. When we get to court, this'll be an easy win. It doesn't feel like winning. I know, but Bart, listen to me. Your son is trying to break you down, make you so uncomfortable, so isolated, that you'll give in just to stop the pain. If you cave now, he'll know exactly how to manipulate you for the rest of your life. Every boundary you try to set, he'll just apply pressure until you surrender. I know, so hold the line. This gets worse before it gets better, but it will get better. I drove home as winter settled over the lake. Bare trees, gray water, cold wind. The house felt enormous and empty. I made dinner. Chicken, roasted potatoes, green beans. Ate alone at my kitchen table, plate scraping loud in the quiet. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. I almost deleted it. Then I saw the message. Dad, this is Clarissa. Using a friend's phone. Gregory took mine. I need to talk to you. Can we meet? Just us. No lawyers, no Gregory. Please. I stared at those words for a long time. Then I typed back coffee shop on Main Street. Tomorrow, 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Thank you. I set down my phone and looked out at the darkening lake. Tomorrow, I'd find out if my daughter wanted reconciliation or just another angle of attack. Either way, I'd be ready. Clarissa was already there when I arrived, tucked into a corner booth. Hands wrapped around a coffee cup like it was keeping her alive. She looked thinner, older. Something in her face had hardened over the past 6 weeks. I slid into the seat across from her. Hi, sweetheart. She looked up, and I saw her eyes were red-rimmed, exhausted. Dad, thank you for coming. Of course. We sat in uncomfortable silence. I waited. Years of patient work teaching me when to let someone find their own words. I'm not living with Gregory anymore, she said finally. Where are you? Friend's couch. It's temporary. Everything's temporary right now. She laughed, bitter and short. Story of my life. Clarissa, let me finish. Please. She took a shaky breath. I need to tell you something. About all of this. about what really happened. I waited. Gregory didn't suggest I move in with you. I suggested it to him. I was desperate, scared. Didn't want to admit I'd failed again. He said you'd never agree, that you valued your space too much. But I pushed. I told him to make it happen. To convince you. Something in my chest tightened. He tried to tell me no. Said you'd earned your retirement. That asking you to give up your peace wasn't fair. But I kept pushing. I was so scared. Dad. So tired of failing. I thought if I could just have a few months in your house, I could figure things out. Why didn't you ask me yourself? Subscribe and stay tuned so you don't miss any true revenge stories. Sometimes, even silence is the strongest form of revenge. Pride. Fear. I knew you'd say no. I thought if Gregory presented it as already decided, you'd just give in. Like you used to when we were kids. She looked at me directly then. You were always the peacemaker. Always making things work. I thought you'd do it again. I'm not that person anymore, Clarissa. I know. I see that now. Tears spilled over. Gregory told me you'd served us with legal notices, hired deputies. I was so angry, Dad. I thought you were choosing your empty house over your own daughter. I was choosing my boundaries over emotional manipulation. I know. She wiped her eyes. I know that now, but in the moment, all I felt was rejected, like I wasn't worth your space, your time, your love. Clarissa, I love you, but love doesn't mean surrendering my right to peace in my own home. Gregory keeps saying the same thing, that you're selfish, that you've always been this way, that Mom would be ashamed. She stopped. But I've been thinking about Mom, about how she was. Do you remember when my first business failed? I nodded. She told me something. She said failure is part of growth, but dependency is a choice. Learn to stand alone, Clarissa. Don't expect other people to catch you every time. That sounds like Catherine. I didn't listen. I kept expecting people to catch me. You, Gregory, boyfriends, business partners, always someone else's job to save me. She set down her coffee cup. But nobody's catching me now. Gregory's too focused on this lawsuit. My friends are exhausted. I'm completely alone. What does Gregory hope to win with this lawsuit? Money, I think, or to punish you. Maybe both. He's obsessed, Dad. He talks about it constantly. About how you embarrassed him, how you made him look weak in front of the deputies, how you chose your pride over family. He chose intimidation over respect. I know, I'm starting to see that. She pulled an envelope from her purse. I wrote something for you, for your lawyer, if you want it. I took the envelope, opened it. A handwritten statement, 2 pages, detailing everything. How she'd pushed Gregory, how he'd tried to refuse, how she'd manipulated the situation, hoping I'd surrender. Why are you giving me this? Because I'm done lying. To you, to myself, to everyone. She met my eyes. You were right to say no, Dad. I see that now. I hate it, but I see it. And I'm sorry. For pushing Gregory, for blaming you, for letting him turn this into a war. Something cracked in my chest. Not breaking. Opening. Clarissa, you're my daughter. I love you. That never changed, but you won't let me move in. No, I won't. She nodded slowly. I understand. I don't like it, but I understand. What will you do? Figure it out. The way I should have from the beginning. Stand alone, like Mom said. Stop expecting other people to catch me. We talked for another hour. Small things, careful things. She told me about a job lead, a possible roommate situation. I listened, offered thoughts when asked, but didn't solve anything for her. When we stood to leave, she hugged me. Brief, uncertain, but genuine. Can we do this again? She asked. Coffee, just talking? No lawyers, no Gregory. I'd like that. Me too. She walked out into the November cold. I watched her go. This daughter who'd finally chosen to stand alone. The guilt was less now. Still there, but lighter. I drove home to my lake house, parked in the driveway, looked up at the structure I'd defended so fiercely. Mine. Earned. Protected. But the victory felt different now. Less about winning, more about teaching a lesson that hurt us both to learn. Inside, I texted Arnold. Got something from Clarissa. Her statement about the manipulation changes everything. His response came within minutes. Bring it tomorrow. This ends the lawsuit. I made dinner, ate on my deck despite the cold. Watched the lake settle into winter stillness. My phone buzzed. Text from Clarissa. Thank you for seeing me. For listening. For not giving in. I needed someone to finally hold a boundary with me. Even if I hated. I typed back. Love means teaching, not just catching. Mom knew that. Now you do too. 3 dots. Then, I miss her. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. The lawsuit was dismissed in January. Arnold filed Clarissa's statement along with our motion to dismiss with prejudice. The judge took one look at the evidence. The admission of manipulation, the documented harassment, the frivolous nature of the claim, and dismissed it entirely. More than that, he awarded me attorney fees. $12,500. Gregory had to pay every penny. The ruling came with a warning. This court does not take kindly to litigation filed for purposes of intimidation or retaliation. Mr. Gregory Gallagher is cautioned that future frivolous filings may result in sanctions. Gregory didn't call, didn't text, just paid the fees and went silent. Clarissa called that evening. I heard about the ruling. Yes. Gregory's furious. At me, mostly. For giving you that statement. I'm sorry you're caught in this. I'm not caught, Dad. I made a choice. I chose honesty over loyalty to his anger. That's growth, right? That's strength. Mom would be proud, maybe. She would be. I am. We talked weekly after that. Coffee when schedules allowed. Phone calls when they didn't. Slow rebuilding. Honest rebuilding. She found a job. Administrative work at an art gallery. Found a studio apartment she could afford. Found a therapist who helped her understand patterns she'd been repeating for years. I'm learning to ask instead of expect, she told me in March. To respect boundaries instead of testing them. It's hard, Dad. Really hard. The best growth usually is. Gregory never called. Never apologized. The silence from that direction was complete. But one afternoon in April, I saw him at a restaurant downtown. He was with his family. Melissa, the twins, sitting at a booth near the window. Our eyes met across the room. I nodded once, civil acknowledgement. He looked away. Later, Melissa texted me. I saw you today. Thank you for being the bigger person. I didn't respond. What was there to say? Des Alf. Ipalaga. 2 years later, I was on my deck when Clarissa's car pulled into the driveway. She'd called that morning, asked if she could stop by. She had someone she wanted me to meet. I watched her climb out, stronger now, steadier, more herself than she'd been in years. A man climbed out of the passenger side, late 30s, kind face, carpenter's hands. Dad, this is Marcus, my boyfriend. We shook hands. He had a good grip, direct eye contact. Mr. Gallagher, Clarissa's told me a lot about you. Good things, I hope. Honest things, Clarissa corrected. I told him about the lawsuit, the boundaries, all of it. That's a lot to unload on someone. He asked about my family. I told him the truth. She smiled. That my father loved me enough to say no when I needed to hear it. That he taught me to stand alone. That it was the hardest gift anyone ever gave me. Something warm spread through my chest. They stayed for dinner. We ate on the deck, watching the lake turn gold in the setting sun. Marcus was an artist too, furniture maker, custom pieces. He and Clarissa had met at the gallery where she now managed operations. She runs that place, Marcus said proudly. Turned it around in 18 months. It's not that impressive, Clarissa protested. It is. You're brilliant at what you do. Watching them together, the easy affection, the mutual respect, I saw my daughter had finally learned what I'd tried to teach her. That standing alone was the foundation for standing together. When they left, Clarissa hugged me at the door. Thank you, Dad, for holding the line when I needed you to. You did the hard part. You chose to grow, because you gave me no other choice. She smiled. Best worst thing you ever did for me. I watched them drive away, taillights disappearing down the wooded road. Inside, my house settled into evening quiet. Mine, defended. At the cost of everything I thought I knew about fatherhood, but I'd learned something too. That love sometimes looks like refusal. That teaching means holding boundaries even when it hurts. That the hardest gift is often the most valuable. I'd lost a son, at least for now, but I'd helped a daughter learn to stand. The taste of justice wasn't triumph, it was quiet satisfaction. The knowledge that I'd done the right thing, even when it cost me everything. Outside, the lake reflected stars. My lake house stood solid behind me. 4 bedrooms earned through 42 years of work, defended through months of warfare. Worth it. All of it worth it. Catherine's voice whispered in memory. You can't force people to make good choices. You can only protect yourself from their bad ones. I'd protected myself, and in doing so, I'd taught Clarissa something more valuable than free rent. I'd taught her to stand. That was enough. More than enough. The end. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Click the box on the left to hear the next story. Thank you for watching.